He was America's ace of aces, a pilot who flew more than 200 missions and shot down 40 enemy planes. He went up against the best pilots the enemy had and always came back the winner. By all accounts, Richard Bong was untouchable in the sky. But after surviving the absolute hell of World War II, it wasn't a dogfight that finally brought him down. It was a routine test flight, on the exact same day the world started celebrating the beginning of the end of the war. So how did the nation's greatest flying hero, a man who beat death time and time again, meet his end in a fiery crash right on the edge of peace? The farm boy who dreamed of flying. Richard Ira Bong was not born a warrior. He was a quiet kid from the small town of Poplar, Wisconsin, the oldest of 9 children of a Swedish immigrant. He grew up on a farm, but his eyes were always on the sky. His passion for flying started when he saw mail planes flying over his family's property, supposedly dropping off mail for President Calvin Coolidge, who had a summer White House nearby. That spark turned into a fire. While he was at Superior State Teachers College, Bong joined the civilian pilot training program, and in 1941, with war on the horizon, he signed up for the Army Air Corps. His instructors saw right away that he was a natural, though some of his early evaluations weren't perfect, which just goes to show that even the ace of aces had a learning curve. And that path would lead him to the cockpit of one of World War II's most famous and difficult aircraft, the Lockheed P-38 Lightning. With its twin engines and unmistakable twin-boom design, the P-38 was a beast of a machine. In Bong's hands, it became a legend, the untouchable ace. Bong was sent to the Southwest Pacific in late 1942, and he didn't waste any time. On one of his very first combat missions that December, he shot down 2 Japanese planes, earning a Silver Star. Just 2 weeks later, he officially became an ace after downing his 5th enemy plane, and he was just getting started. Over the next 2 years and 200-plus missions, Bong's kill count just kept climbing at a ridiculous pace. In July 1943, he took down 4 Japanese fighters in a single day. By April 1944, he'd shattered World War I hero Eddie Rickenbacker's record of 26 kills. Bong's method was terrifyingly simple. He'd get dangerously close to his targets, so close he practically couldn't miss. It was a tactic that took nerves of absolute steel, but for all his fame, he was known for being incredibly humble. Bong would often let his wingmen claim kills just to boost their morale, caring more about his squad than his own score. He even named his P-38 Marge and plastered a huge photo of his sweetheart, Marjorie Vattendahl, on the nose. It's these details, the personal touches, like the photo on the plane, the technical guts of the P-38 that make history feel real. If you think these stories are as fascinating as we do, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. You won't want to miss where we go next in military history. One final victory and a tragic twist. In December 1944, General Douglas MacArthur himself awarded then Major Bong the Medal of Honor, calling him one of the bravest of the brave. Just a few days after getting the nation's highest honor, Bong shot down his 40th and final plane. That was it. The top brass, terrified of losing a national hero, pulled him from combat for good. He was sent home a hero, married his sweetheart Marge, and went on tour to promote war bonds to massive, cheering crowds. His fighting days were over, but his flying days weren't. Bong took on a new, high-stakes job as a test pilot for Lockheed. His new ride was the P-80 Shooting Star, America's very first operational jet fighter. This was the future, a massive leap in aviation technology. On August 6, 1945, Bong took off from Burbank, California, for what was supposed to be a routine acceptance flight. He only had about 4 hours of flight time in the new jet. Just moments after takeoff, the primary fuel pump on his P-80 failed. There was a backup, but for some reason, whether he couldn't get to the switch or just forgot in those chaotic seconds, Bong never activated it. He tried to eject, but it was too late. He was too low to the ground for his parachute to open. The man who survived hundreds of hours of deadly aerial combat died instantly in a field in North Hollywood. In a gut-wrenching twist of fate, the story of his death shared the front pages with the news that had just broken across the world. The atomic bomb had been dropped on Hiroshima. Richard Bong was only 24 years old when he died. To this day, he is still America's highest-scoring fighter ace, a record that has never been broken. His story is one of unbelievable skill and courage, a farm boy who became an absolute master of the skies. but it's also a story of cruel, stunning irony. A final reminder that even for the greatest heroes we have, the line between a triumphant homecoming and a tragic end can be terrifyingly thin. His legacy is kept alive not just in the record books, but at the Richard I Bong Veterans Historical Center in his home state, making sure the story of the Ace of Aces is never forgotten. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more stories about incredible people like Richard Bong, tell us in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more.